The cargo bay smelled like recycled air and metal. Owen Reed checked the manifest on his datapad while his daughter Lily pressed her nose against the viewing window. Outside, trading station Helios 7 rotated slowly against a backdrop of distant stars. "Dad, look at that one." Lily pointed at a tall alien with 4 arms carrying a stack of containers. "What do you think they are?" "Porvali, probably," Owen said without looking up. "They run most of the administration around here." Lily bounced on her toes. She was 8 years old, and this was her first trip off Earth during school break. Everything amazed her. Every alien, every strange sound, every weird smell. Owen had been hauling cargo for 3 years now, ever since humanity joined the galactic community. The wonder had worn off for him, but watching Lily experience it made things feel new again. The docking clamps released with a metallic thunk. Owen powered down the ship's systems and grabbed his jacket from the back of the pilot's seat. "Stay close to me," he said. "This station is safe, but I don't want you wandering off." "I know, Dad. You told me 5 times already." Lily rolled her eyes, but smiled. They walked down the ramp into the main concourse. The station was busy today. Aliens of dozens of species moved through the wide corridor. Some walked on 2 legs like humans. Others slithered, floated, or scuttled on multiple limbs. Shops lined both sides of the passage, selling everything from ship parts to exotic foods. Lily grabbed Owen's hand. Not because she was scared, but because she didn't want to lose him in the crowd that a small alien with purple skin waved at them from a fruit stall. Lily waved back enthusiastically. The merchant chirped something in a language Owen didn't understand, but the translator in his ear converted it. Fresh imports from the Terminus colonies. Very sweet. Owen nodded politely and kept walking. He had a schedule to keep. Pick up the supply crates from Dock 17, verify the contents, then head to the refueling station. Simple job. He'd be back on a ship in 4 hours, maybe less. They passed a group of tall, reptilian aliens standing near a weapons shop. Owen noticed them because they were staring. Not at him, but at Lily. One of them, the largest with dark green scales and elaborate bone ridges on his head, tilted his head as they walked by. Owen's hand tightened slightly on Lily's. Old instincts whispered warnings in the back of his mind. He'd spent 10 years doing search and rescue in some of Earth's most dangerous places before becoming a cargo hauler. Mountains, oceans, collapsed buildings, war zones. He learned to read danger the way some people read books. These aliens felt wrong. "Dad, you're squishing my hand," Lily said. "Sorry, kiddo." Owen relaxed his grip, but didn't let go. They reached the administration office where a Porvali named Quilvin managed the paperwork. He was a nervous creature, always worried about regulations and procedures. "Ah, Mr. Reed." Quilvin's translator made his voice sound high and worried. "Your cargo arrived this morning. All 17 crates, properly sealed and documented." "Good. I'll inspect them and sign off." Of course. And this must be your offspring." Quilvin's 4 eyes blinked at Lily in sequence. "My daughter, yes." "Lily, say hello to Administrator Quilvin." "Hello," Lily said cheerfully. "You have really cool eyes." Quilvin's skin flushed a darker blue, which Owen had learned meant he was pleased. "Thank you, young one. There are some refreshments in the waiting area if you're hungry while your father handles business." Owen glanced at the waiting area. It was visible from Quilvin's desk, just a few meters away. "Safe enough." "Can I, Dad?" "Sure. Don't talk to anyone weird. Everyone here is weird." Lily giggled and skipped over to where a food dispenser offered various snacks. Owen spent 20 minutes reviewing documents with Quilvin. Everything was in order. The cargo was medical supplies heading to a colony in the Outer Rim. Boring, routine, exactly the kind of job Owen preferred these days. Through the window, he watched Lily examining the food dispenser like it was the most fascinating thing in the universe. A small merchant, something that looked like a walking flower, stopped to show her how to use it properly. Lily thanked them and got some kind of blue juice. That's when Owen noticed the reptilian aliens again. 3 of them now, standing near the entrance to the administration building. They weren't doing anything obviously wrong, just standing there. But they were watching Lily. The largest one, the leader based on how the others deferred to him, had his head turned toward the waiting area. His eyes, yellow with vertical slits, tracked Lily's movements. Owen signed the final document without reading it. Is something wrong, Mr. Reed? Quilvin asked, noticing the change in Owen's expression. Those aliens by the door. The big reptile ones. What species are they? Quilvin looked, and his skin immediately paled to almost white. Corthians. They joined the council only 2 years ago. Their culture is very different from most species. Different how? They are predators. Hunters. Is their way. Quilvin's voice dropped to a whisper. Many species find them unsettling. They view smaller beings as potential prey, though such behavior is strictly forbidden on council stations. Owen's jaw tightened. He'd read about the Corthians. Warrior culture. Hunting rituals. Young males prove themselves by taking trophies from challenging prey. How strictly forbidden? Oh, very strictly. Station security would respond immediately to any incident. Although, Quilvin trailed off. Although what? The Corthians do not respond well to authority. They respect strength, not rules. Most security forces avoid confronting them unless absolutely necessary. Owen looked at his daughter. She was showing the flower merchant a small toy she'd brought from Earth, completely oblivious to the 3 predators watching her like she was the most interesting thing on the station. The largest Corthian said something to his companions. They spread out slightly, moving with the casual confidence of apex predators who'd never met anything that could truly threaten them. Owen handed the data pad back to Quilvin. We're done here. Yes, your cargo is cleared for transport. Good. Owen walked toward the waiting area, placing himself between the Corthians and his daughter without making it obvious. Lily, time to go check the cargo. Okay. She bounced over to him, still holding her blue juice as they left the administration building. Owen felt the Corthians' eyes following them. His old training kicked in automatically. Map the exits. Note the positions. Calculate distances. Plan responses that he hoped he was being paranoid, but 20 years of experience told him he wasn't. The market district stretched out like a maze of colors and sounds. Vendors called out in dozens of languages while the smell of cooking food mixed with machine oil and ozone. Owen kept Lily's hand in his as they walked through the crowd. He'd changed his route 3 times, testing a theory he hoped was wrong. Each time, he caught glimpses of dark green scales in the crowd behind them. The Corthians were following. Can we look at the crystal shop? Lily pointed to a stall where a small alien was selling glowing stones. Sure. Owen guided her toward it, using the opportunity to glance back without being obvious. All 3 Corthians were there, about 30 meters back. They weren't hiding. They didn't need to. This was a public space, and they had every right to be here. But their attention never left Lily. The crystal vendor was a Selkie, a species with soft gray skin and huge black eyes. She smiled at Lily and held up a small blue crystal that pulsed with inner light. For you, little one. A gift. Her voice was gentle through the translator. Really? Lily's eyes went wide. Lily, we can't just take things, Owen started, but the vendor waved him off. It's just a small piece. Children should have beautiful things. Lily looked up at Owen with hopeful eyes. He nodded, and she carefully took the crystal, holding it like it was made of glass. Thank you so much. Lily beamed at the vendor. You're very welcome. Be careful, small one. The station is not as safe as it used to be. The Selkie's eyes flicked toward the Corthians and then back to Owen. A warning. Owen nodded his understanding. They weren't the only ones who'd noticed. As they left the crystal stall, Owen saw other vendors starting to close up. Shutters came down over windows. Aliens who'd been browsing suddenly remembered they had somewhere else to be. The crowd was thinning. Fear had a smell on space stations. Owen had learned that over the years. It smelled like recycled air getting thinner, like everyone holding their breath at once. Dad, where is everyone going? Lily asked, noticing the change. Not sure, kiddo. Maybe it's closing time for some shops. It wasn't closing time. It was 11 in the morning, station time. But Owen wasn't going to scare his daughter. The Corthians moved closer now, not bothering with subtlety. They walked in a loose, triangle formation that Owen recognized from his military training. Hunting formation. Corner the prey from multiple angles that Owen's heartbeat stayed steady. That was good. Panic got people killed. He scanned the area, looking for options. The nearest security station was 2 corridors away. There was an emergency lockdown button on the wall about 20 meters ahead. Several shops with back entrances, though he didn't know where they led. The largest Corthian, the leader, moved to cut off the path ahead. He was massive up close, easily 7 feet tall with muscles that rippled under his scales. His claws clicked on the metal floor. Owen stopped walking. No point pretending this wasn't happening. Lily, stand behind me. But Dad, behind me. Now. Something in his voice made Lily obey without arguing. She moved behind Owen's legs, still holding her crystal. The Corthian leader smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. The other 2 flanked them on either side, blocking escape routes. Human. The leader's voice was deep and rough even through the translator. Your offspring is very small, very curious. We have been watching her. I noticed. Owen's voice was calm. Flat. You should stop. Should. The Corthian tilted his head. You give commands? Here, away from your home world, you think you have authority. I'm not giving commands. I'm giving advice. One of the other Corthians laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. Advice. The prey gives advice to hunters. A door opened nearby, and Administrator Quilvin hurried out, his 4 arms waving frantically. Hunt Master Dravik, please. This is a neutral station. The child is under council protection. So the leader had a name. Dravik. Owen filed that away. Dravik didn't even look at Quilvin. Council protection means nothing to us, Administrator. We follow the old ways. The strong take what interests them. This is illegal. Quilvin's voice shook. I will call security. Call them. Dravik's smile widened. They will not come. They know better. Quilvin pulled out a communication device, but his hands were shaking too much to use it properly. Owen saw the truth in the Porvali's eyes. He was terrified. Security wouldn't come, or wouldn't come fast enough, or wouldn't come in sufficient numbers to matter. Owen was on his own. You seem calm, human, Dravik observed, moving a step closer. Most species show fear by now. Trembling, rapid breathing, defensive postures. You show nothing. I'm good at staying calm. Interesting. Dravik leaned down slightly, studying Owen like he was a puzzle. Do you not understand your situation? We are 3. You are 1. We are hunters. You are a cargo worker. We are Corthian. You are human, soft and weak. Behind Owen, Lily gripped his leg tighter. He reached back and patted her head once, reassuring. I understand perfectly, Owen said. And yet you do not run. You do not beg. You do not offer tribute. Dravik seemed genuinely curious now. Why? Because my daughter is behind me. That's the only position that matters. Admirable. Foolish, but admirable. Dravik straightened up. We do not wish to harm her. We only wish to take her. There's a market for exotic specimens. Human children are rare in this sector. She would bring a fine price. The words were meant to provoke. To make Owen angry. Angry people made mistakes. Owen didn't get angry. Anger was hot and loud and sloppy. What he felt was cold and quiet and very, very focused. You're not taking her anywhere. No. Dravik gestured, and the other 2 Corthians moved closer, tightening the circle. Who will stop us? You. If I have to. Dravik laughed, a booming sound that echoed off the corridor walls. You cannot stop us, human. Look at you. Small, unarmed, alone. One of the younger Corthians, eager to prove himself, stepped forward quickly. His clawed hand reached past Owen toward Lily. Everything changed in that moment. Owen moved. The young Corthian's arm never reached Lily. Owen caught the wrist mid-grab. His fingers found pressure points that existed in most humanoid species. The Corthian's eyes went wide with shock as his hand spasmed open involuntarily. Then Owen twisted. The sound of breaking bone echoed through the corridor. The Corthian screamed and dropped to his knees. Owen had already moved, putting himself between the injured alien and Lily, his stance completely different now, in a wasted movement. Perfect balance. Weight distributed on the balls of his feet, ready to move in any direction. The other Corthians froze. They'd expected panic, begging, maybe a clumsy attempt at defense. They hadn't expected this. Hadn't expected the quiet cargo hauler to move. Like a trained fighter, Dravik's smile disappeared. You broke Krell's arm. He reached for my daughter. Owen's voice was still calm. Too calm. He's lucky that's all I broke. Around them, aliens who'd been hiding in shops peeked out from doorways and windows. They'd never seen anyone stand up to the Corthians before. Certainly not a human. Dravik's eyes narrowed. You have made a mistake, cargo worker. Krell is young, inexperienced. I am not. Neither am I. Oh, Dravik circled slowly to the left, while his remaining companion moved right. Classic flanking maneuver. You have training? Military, perhaps? Special forces? Owen didn't answer. He tracked both Corthians with peripheral vision, calculating angles and distances. His body remembered this dance, even though he'd hoped to never perform it again. Dad! Lily's small voice came from behind him. She sounded scared now. It's okay, sweetheart. Just stay right where you are. Don't move. Touching, Dravik said. The human protects his young. But protection requires more than determination. It requires strength. He flexed his claws. Shall we test yours? Administrator Quilvin finally got his communication device working. Security. This is Administrator Quilvin in Market Section 7. We have an incident. Corthians are threatening a human child. Send units immediately. A crackling response came through, too quiet for Owen to hear. But he saw Quilvin's face fall. They're not coming. Owen guessed. They said it would take 15 minutes to assemble a response team capable of handling Corthians. 15 minutes. Dravik laughed. We can do much in 15 minutes. The third Corthian, the one on the right, attacked first. He was faster than Krell had been, coming in low and hard. Owen sidestepped, used the alien's momentum against him, and drove an elbow into the nerve cluster at the base of his skull. The Corthian went down hard, unconscious before he hit the floor. Dravik charged immediately after, using his companion's attack as a distraction. Smart tactics, but Owen had fought multiple opponents before. He knew the patterns. He ducked under Dravik's first swipe, felt the claws pass centimeters above his head. Countered with a strike to the Corthian's midsection that had every ounce of Owen's weight behind it. Dravik grunted and stumbled back. They circled each other now, reassessing. Krell was still on the ground, cradling his broken arm. The third Corthian wasn't moving. Just Owen and Dravik, and a little girl who shouldn't have to see her father fight. You have skills, Dravik admitted, rubbing his stomach where Owen had hit him. More than I expected. But you tire. Humans tire quickly. I can see it in your breathing. It was true. Owen's heart was pounding now. Adrenaline could only carry him so far. Dravik was bigger, stronger, and fresher. In a prolonged fight, Owen would lose, but he didn't need to win a prolonged fight. He just needed to keep Dravik away from Lily until help arrived. 15 minutes. He could last 15 minutes. I can tire for a lot longer than you think. Owen said. Dravik roared and came at him again. This time Owen didn't try fancy moves. He blocked, deflected, gave ground when he needed to, but never moved away from Lily. Every step backward, he made sure his daughter was still behind him. A claw got through his defense and raked across his shoulder. Owen felt hot pain and warm blood, but ignored it. Pain was just information. It told him he was hurt, but not how badly. He could process that later. He grabbed Dravik's extended arm and used a throw he'd learned in a dirty bar fight 20 years ago. The big Corthian hit the floor with a crash that shook the deck plates, but Dravik was up almost immediately, faster than Owen expected. The Corthian's tail whipped around, catching Owen in the ribs. The breath exploded from his lungs, and he went down on one knee. Dad! Lily screamed. Owen forced himself back up. His ribs were probably cracked. His shoulder was bleeding. His body was screaming at him to stay down, but he stood anyway. Why? Dravik asked, genuinely confused now. Why do you continue? You are beaten, injured. I could kill you. You could try. Owen wheezed, getting his breath back. But you'd have to, because I'm not moving. Not while my daughter is behind me. Something changed in Dravik's expression. Not respect exactly, more like recognition, as if he was seeing Owen as something other than prey for the first time. Your species is strange, Dravik said slowly. You're not the strongest, not the fastest. Your claws are pathetic. Your teeth cannot tear flesh. By all rights, you should be prey. Yeah, well, Owen wiped blood from his shoulder. We don't go by rights. We go by what needs to be done. Doors burst open at the far end of the corridor. Security forces finally arrived, a dozen armed guards in riot gear. Behind them, a human woman in diplomatic clothing ran forward. Stop this immediately. Ambassador Patricia Nolan's voice carried authority that made even Dravik pause. By council law, I order all parties to stand down. Dravik looked at Owen, at the two unconscious Corthians at the guards. Then he smiled that sharp-toothed smile. This is not over, human. If you come near my daughter again, Owen said quietly, it will be. The station's medical base smelled like antiseptic and something sweet that Owen couldn't identify. An insectoid doctor with too many arms worked on the gash across his shoulder while Lily sat in a chair nearby, hugging her crystal and watching with wide eyes. You are fortunate, the doctor chittered through her translator. The claw missed major blood vessels. The ribs are bruised, but not broken. You will heal. Thanks, Owen said, trying not to wince as she sealed the wound. Ambassador Nolan stood by the door, her arms crossed and her expression caught between relief and anger. She'd sent Lily to get juice from a dispenser in the corner, giving them a moment to talk privately. Search and rescue, she said. It wasn't a question. Mountain division, then ocean, then urban disaster response. Owen watched the doctor work. 10 years before I retired. They don't teach those moves in search and rescue. No, they teach them in the places where search and rescue gets complicated. Vartsonis, hostile territories, places where you have to fight through people who don't want you saving anyone. Nolan nodded slowly. I pulled your file after I got Quilven's call. It's heavily redacted. Things the civilian population doesn't need to know about. Those things should stay redacted. Agreed. But Owen, what you did today, fighting 3 Corthians? That's going to make waves. The council is already demanding an inquiry. Dravik is claiming assault. His people want charges filed. Owen met her eyes. He reached for my daughter. I know. And that's the only reason you're not in a detention cell right now. Nolan glanced at Lily, who was carefully examining her juice like it might contain secrets. The footage from station cameras shows everything. Krell grabbed first. You defended. But the Corthians are arguing it was a cultural misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. Owen's jaw tightened. He tried to kidnap her. They're calling it expressing interest in acquiring exotic specimens. Their lawyers are very good at making predation sound like business. The doctor finished and stepped back, her many arms retracting tools into pouches on her medical vest. You are repaired. Try not to fight any more Corthians for at least a week. Not planning on it, Owen said. After the doctor left, Nolan pulled up a chair. The council is convening an emergency session in 4 hours. Both you and Dravik have to testify. They want to know exactly what happened and why. And then what? Honestly, I don't know. This is unprecedented. Humans are still new to the galactic community. Most species see us as curious but ultimately harmless. Traders, explorers, scientists. We smile a lot, and we're polite at diplomatic functions. But you just showed them something different. Something that scares them. Nolan leaned forward. You took down 3 trained Corthian hunters. The footage is already spreading through unofficial channels. Every species that's ever been intimidated by Corthian aggression is watching it. And they're realizing that humans might not be as harmless as we seem. Owen looked at his daughter. She'd finished her juice and was now making the empty cup float in the low gravity near the ceiling, giggling as she caught it and released it again. Completely innocent. Completely unaware of the political chaos swirling around her. I didn't mean to start anything, he said quietly. I just wanted to keep her safe. I know, and that's exactly what makes this so powerful. Nolan stood up. Every species in the council protects their young. It's a universal instinct. But most species fold when faced with superior force. They beg, they negotiate, they submit, and hope for mercy. And I didn't. You didn't even consider it. From the moment Krell reached for Lily, you became something else. Every alien who watched that footage saw the same thing. A switch flipping. The nice human disappearing and something dangerous taking his place. Owen flexed his bandaged shoulder. It hurt, but not as much as it should. The doctor had done good work. There's a phrase spreading through the station, Nolan continued. The aliens are calling you the honey badger. The what? It's from Earth. A small animal that fights things 10 times its size. Doesn't back down. Doesn't quit. Doesn't care how big the threat is. She smiled slightly. Apparently, some alien researcher studied Earth's wildlife and mentioned it in a comparative biology report. The name stuck. Great. I'm famous for being a badger. You're famous for being a father who wouldn't let anyone hurt his child. The Corthians respect strength. Owen, you showed them strength they didn't expect. That matters. Lily floated over, having gotten bored with her game. Dad, are you okay? The doctor fixed you. All fixed, sweetheart. Owen pulled her into a gentle hug, careful of his ribs. Those big aliens were mean, Lily said, her voice small. I was scared. I know. I'm sorry you had to see that. But you protected me, just like you always do. She looked up at him with complete trust. You're the best dad ever. Owen felt something crack in his chest that had nothing to do with his injuries. All the training, all the fights, all the years of danger and violence. They'd all led to this moment, to being a father who could keep his daughter safe. I'll always protect you, he promised. Nolan's communicator beeped. She checked it and frowned. The council moved up the session. They want testimony in 1 hour. That was fast. Word is spreading faster. Half the station's alien population is demanding justice for you. The other half is demanding you be expelled as a dangerous element. The council wants to settle this before it becomes a riot. Owen stood up carefully, testing his ribs. They hurt, but held. Then let's go settle it. Owen, this is serious. What you say in that session will affect how every species views humanity going forward. You need to be careful. He looked down at Lily, then back at Nolan. I'll tell them the truth. Someone threatened my daughter. I stopped them. If that makes me dangerous, then every species with children is dangerous. Nolan studied him for a long moment, then nodded. All right, let's go show the council what humanity really is. The council chamber was bigger than Owen expected. Circular, with tiered seating rising up like an amphitheater. Representatives from dozens of species sat in their designated sections, some in chairs, others on platforms suited to their biology. The center floor held 2 simple podiums facing the council seats. Owen stood at one podium. Dravik stood at the other, his arm bandaged where Owen had struck him. Between them, a Porvali magistrate presided over the proceedings. Lily sat in the observation gallery with Ambassador Nolan, far enough away to be safe, but close enough that Owen could see her. She waved at him. He nodded back, keeping his face calm. The magistrate, an elderly Porvali named Counselor Vreen, called the session to order. His 4 arms moved in complex gestures as he spoke. We are here to address the incident on Trading Station Helios 7 involving Huntmaster Dravik of the Corthian Collective and civilian Owen Reed of Earth. Both parties will give testimony. The council will then render judgment. Dravik went first. He described the events from his perspective, his translator giving his words a formal, almost regal quality. We were conducting standard observation protocols, Dravik explained. The human offspring displayed unusual characteristics that warranted further study. When we approached to initiate contact, the adult human became aggressive without provocation. Liar, someone hissed from the gallery. Owen glanced up and saw a small cell K, probably the crystal vendor from the market. Counselor Vreen gestured for silence. Order. All testimony will be heard. He turned to Owen. Human Reed, you may now present your account. Owen stepped forward slightly. Public speaking had never been his strength, but he knew how to report facts clearly. My daughter and I were walking through the market. Huntmaster Dravik and his companions followed us. They surrounded us in a hunting formation and stated their intention to take my daughter for sale as an exotic specimen. When one of them reached for her, I defended her. That's all. That's all. Dravik's voice rose. You broke Krell's arm in 2 places. You rendered Vorik unconscious. You injured me. This is defense. You were trying to kidnap my child. Yes, that's defense. We were expressing interest not committing kidnapping. You said, and I quote, she would bring a fine price. You weren't window shopping. Murmurs rippled through the council chamber. Several representatives leaned together, whispering behind translation fields. A tall, crystalline being from the upper tiers spoke up. If I may, Councillor Vreen, I am Representative Silica of the Grelene Harmony. I would like to present relevant evidence. Proceed. The lights dimmed, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. Security footage from the market, showing everything from multiple angles. The council watched in silence as Dravik and his hunters tracked Owen and Lily through the crowd. Heard every word of the confrontation. Saw Krell reach for Lily and Owen's instant response. When the footage ended, Representative Silica spoke again. The record is clear. The Corthians initiated aggression toward a juvenile. The human responded with appropriate protective force. Appropriate? A Corthian representative stood, his scales a darker shade than Dravik's. He could have simply surrendered the offspring. We would have returned her unharmed after evaluation. Evaluation. Owen's voice cut through the chamber. Everyone turned to look at him. You were going to sell her. You said so yourself. And you expect me to believe you'd return her after taking her. The Corthian representative's eyes narrowed. You speak boldly for a species so new to council space. I speak honestly, which is more than I can say for your huntmaster. Dravik slammed his fist on the podium. I do not lie. We are Corthian. We do not need to lie. We take what we want through strength. And there's your problem? Owen said quietly. Councillor Vreen raised a hand. Explain, human read. Owen took a breath, organizing his thoughts. Every species here protects their young. I've been in space for 3 years now. I've seen Porvali parents shield their offspring from danger. I've seen Grelene families form protective clusters around their juveniles. I've watched Selke defend their children with tools and teamwork. He gestured around the chamber. Protection isn't unique to humans. It's universal. The only difference is how we do it. Some species use shells. Some use speed. Some use numbers. Months. We use whatever works. Violence, the Corthian representative said. You use violence. When necessary, yes. But control violence. Precise violence. I could have killed all 3 of them. You've seen the footage. There were opportunities. I didn't take them because they didn't actually hurt my daughter. They only tried. Dravik studied Owen with those yellow eyes. You showed restraint. I showed judgment. There's a difference between defending and killing. I chose defense. A new voice spoke up from a section Owen hadn't noticed. A small, furry creature with enormous ears. If I may share a perspective, I am Observer Pin of the Felder Archives. We maintain records of all species in council space, including recently added ones like humans. Proceed, Observer Pin, Councillor Vreen said. Humans are fascinating. Pin continued in a high, chittering voice. They evolved as persistence hunters on a death world. Earth is classified as a high-gravity, high-danger planet with extreme weather, aggressive fauna, and limited resources. Humans survive by being adaptable, stubborn, and very good at ending threats. The chamber was silent now, everyone listening. But here is what makes them unique, Pin went on. Despite this violent heritage, humans developed strong social bonds, complex empathy, and protective instincts that override even self-preservation. A human parent will fight anything to protect their offspring, not because they want to, because they cannot do otherwise. It is coded into their psychology. So they're dangerous, the Corthian representative said. So they are parents, Observer Pin corrected. Like all of us, they simply have better tools for the job. Representative Silica spoke again. The question before this council is not whether humans are dangerous. The question is whether human Reed acted lawfully in protecting his offspring from unlawful aggression. The aggression was not unlawful, Dravik protested. Corthian custom does not override council law. Councillor Vreen interrupted. This is a council station. Council law applies to all species equally. He turned to face both podiums directly. The evidence is clear. Huntmaster Dravik initiated unlawful contact with intent to abduct a juvenile. Human Reed responded with defensive force. While the force used was significant, it was not lethal and ceased when security arrived. Vreen's forearms moved in a gesture Owen didn't recognize. This council finds human Reed acted within his rights as a parent and citizen. All charges are dismissed. The chamber erupted in noise. Some aliens cheered. Others protested. Dravik stood silent, his face unreadable. Furthermore, Vreen continued, raising his voice over the din. Huntmaster Dravik and his companions are hereby banned from Helios, 7 and all associated stations for a period of 10 years. Now Dravik reacted, his scales flaring in anger. But he didn't argue. He simply bowed his head in acceptance and walked from the chamber. Owen let out a breath he'd been holding. It was over. Lily was safe. They could go home. But as he left the podium, he caught Observer Pin's enormous eyes watching him with interest. The little archivist was already making notes on a datapad, recording this moment for the historical record. Humans had just shown the galaxy something new about themselves. Owen just hoped it was something they could live with. 3 days later, Owen's ship was ready to leave Helios 7. The cargo had been loaded, the fuel tanks were full, and all the departure paperwork was filed. He was more than ready to put this station behind him. Lily sat in the co-pilot's seat, playing with her crystal. It still glowed softly, pulsing in a rhythm that seemed to match her heartbeat. The Selke vendor had visited them the day after the council hearing, bringing 3 more crystals as a gift. For the brave little one and her braver father, she'd said, "Dad, are we in trouble?" Lily asked suddenly. Owen looked over from the pre-flight checklist. "What? No, sweetheart. Why would you think that? Everyone keeps staring at us. And some of the aliens look scared when they see you." Owen sighed. She was right. Word had spread through every corner of the station. The human who'd fought 3 Corthians. The honey badger, as they were calling him. Some aliens treated him like a hero. Others gave him a wide berth, like he might explode if they got too close. "People are just surprised," he said carefully. "They didn't know humans could fight like that. But you were a rescue person. You saved people." "I did. Sometimes saving people means fighting the things that want to hurt them." Lily thought about this for a moment. "Will those big aliens come back?" "No. The council banned them from this station. They can't come here anymore." "Good." She hugged her crystal closer. "I didn't like them. They were mean." A chime sounded at the airlock. Owen checked the monitor and saw Ambassador Nolan standing outside. He opened the door and she climbed aboard, carrying a datapad. Cutting it close, Owen said, "We launch in 20 minutes. "I know. I wanted to catch you before you left." Nolan held up the datapad. "This is interesting. You've received 47 requests for security contracts in the past 3 days. Security contracts, merchants who want protection, colony administrators looking for defense consultants, even a few diplomatic missions asking if you'd be interested in guard work." She scrolled through the list. "The pay is substantial. Some of these offers are more than you'd make hauling cargo for a year." Owen shook his head. "Not interested. I figured, but I had to pass them along anyway. You're famous now, Owen. The human who stood up to Corthians and won. Every species that's ever been bullied by stronger neighbors is talking about you. I'm not a hero. I'm a dad who protected his kid. That's exactly why they're interested." Nolan sat down in the navigator's seat. For most species, protection means hiding or running or negotiating. You show them a different option. Fight back. Don't fold. Make the strong ones realize you're not easy prey. Through the viewport, Owen could see the market district. Aliens moved through the corridors like always, buying and selling, living their lives. But something had changed. The Corthians were gone, and other species that used to slink around nervously were walking with more confidence. "Has there been trouble?" he asked. "Retaliation from the Corthian collective?" "No, actually the opposite. Their ambassador sent an official communication. They're withdrawing all hunting packs from council stations until they complete cultural sensitivity training." Nolan smiled. Translation: they don't want more footage of humans beating them up spreading through the galaxy. "Good. There's something else." Nolan pulled up a file on her datapad. Observer Pin updated the human entry in the galactic database. "Want to hear what it says?" Owen wasn't sure he did, but Lily perked up. "Yes. What does it say about humans?" Nolan cleared her throat and read. Species, human. Origin, Earth. Classification, Death World survivors with advanced tool use and complex social structures. Notable characteristics, extreme protective instincts toward offspring and family units. Capable of significant violence when threatened, but demonstrate unusual restraint and judgment. Approach with respect. Do not threaten their young. Death World survivors. Owen raised an eyebrow. Earth scored high on the danger index. Gravity, weather, predators, diseases. Most council species evolved on easier planets. The fact that humans thrived in those conditions tells them something about our durability. Lily grinned. We're tough. Very tough. Nolan agreed. She stood up and offered Owen her hand. I know you just want to haul cargo and take care of your daughter. But what you did here mattered. You showed the galaxy that humans aren't pushovers. We're cooperative and friendly, but there are lines you don't cross. Owen shook her hand. I just wanted her safe. I know. That's what makes it powerful. Nolan ruffled Lily's hair on her way to the airlock. Take care of yourselves. And Owen, if you ever change your mind about security work, the offers will still be there. After she left, Owen finished the pre-flight sequence. The ship's engines hummed to life. Station control cleared them for departure, and the docking clamps released with familiar metallic sounds as they pulled away from Helios 7. Lily pressed her face to the viewport, watching the station shrink behind them. Dad, yeah, when I grow up, I want to be brave like you. Owen felt his chest tighten. You're already brave, sweetheart. You stayed calm when you were scared. That's the hardest kind of brave. But you fought them. You protected me. Because that's what parents do. When you have kids someday, you'll understand. There's nothing you wouldn't do for them. They jumped to faster-than-light speed, and the stars stretched into lines. Owen set the autopilot and leaned back in his seat. His shoulders still ached. His ribs were tender. But they were safe. They were together. That was all that mattered. Behind them, across the galaxy, the story was spreading. The human who'd fought like a cornered animal to protect his child. The honey badger who wouldn't back down. Station by station, planet by planet, aliens were learning a new truth about humanity. They were kind until you threatened what they loved. Then they became something else entirely. Something focused and relentless and very, very dangerous. Dravik had learned that lesson. So had his hunters. And through them, the rest of the galaxy was learning it too. Owen didn't care about any of that. He just cared about the little girl in the co-pilot seat, playing with her crystal and humming a song from Earth. She was safe. He made sure of it. And he'd do it again without hesitation, no matter what the cost. That was what it meant to be human. That was what it meant to be a parent. The galaxy would just have to accept it. The ship flew on through the darkness, carrying a father and daughter home. Behind them, the legend of the honey badger grew. But ahead of them was just life. Simple, ordinary, beautiful life, and that was enough.